Hello students, this is Mrs. Crumpton, and today we're going to look at section 7.1c, Complementary Angles and Supplementary Angles, from your Math Connects book, your Glencoe McGraw-Hill, and this section begins on page 401. Complementary and supplementary angles are pretty easy to do. Complementary angles, your learning target, I can identify complementary angles and supplementary angles and find missing angle measures. First off, complementary angles are two angles that the sum of their measure is 90 degrees. Supplementary angles are two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. Now I've got a real easy trick for you to remember this by. If you look real close and you use your imagination, you know, sometimes I come up with some crazy things to help you remember things. You can see 90 degrees right at the start of the word complementary. I make a 9 out of that C. Of course, you've got a 0, so 90 degrees. Complementary angles, the sum of their measures is 90 degrees. Supplementary angles, the sum of their measure is 180 degrees. Now, if you use your imagination again, you can see 180 degrees, or at least an 8, at the start of the word supplementary. I can connect the S to make it an 8. So that little trick hopefully will help you remember that the sum of two angles, if the sum of two angles is 180 degrees, then those two angles are supplementary. The key concept, of course, comes from page 401 of your textbook. Next, we're going to identify each pair of angles as complementary, supplementary, or neither. Take a look at angle 1 and angle 2. The angle measure of the first angle, the first problem, is 128 degrees, and the angle measure of the second angle is 52 degrees. Okay, now remember, if two angles are complementary, their sum is 90 degrees. Let me put a 9 up here on this C to help you remember it. If two angles are supplementary, their sum is 80 degrees. That's kind of messy, but maybe you'll remember it. Let me try it one more time and see if I can make an S out of that, or an 8 out of that S. That's a little better. So let's add the angles. 128 plus 52. 0, carry 1, 8, 180. Okay, now we said if two angles are complementary, their sum is 90 degrees. If two angles are supplementary, their sum is 180 degrees. So which one is this, complementary or supplementary? If you said supplementary, and I'm going to abbreviate, supplementary, that is correct. Take a look at the second example. Remember that this mark right here means that this particular angle is 90 degrees. Remember that we talked about angles that form a straight line are 180 degrees. Well, if I add this angle to these two angles, I would have a straight angle, which is 180 degrees. Okay, so what would the sum of angle X plus angle Y be? They form a 90-degree angle. It doesn't matter if I know the individual angle measures or not. I can look and tell, since this angle is 90 degrees, the sum of these two angles would have to be 90 degrees. So this pair of angles that we're looking at is complementary. Okay, let's take a look at another example. This time we're going to find the missing angle measure. Okay, now I want you to think a minute. Do these two angles form a complementary or supplementary angles? Are they complementary or are they supplementary? They form what kind of line or what kind of angle? They form a straight angle. And what is the measure of a straight angle? That is 180 degrees. So the measure of this 56-degree angle measure plus the measure of angle X equals 180 degrees. This is a simple one-step equation. We subtract 56 from both sides, and we find out the measure of the missing angle is 174 degrees. Ooh, that's not right. That should be a 2 right here. That should not be a 7. Sorry about that. $124 degrees. Okay, these are pretty easy problems to do. Just remember, if two angles are complementary, if you're given and you're asked to find the measure of an angle, then you're going to be subtracting from 90 instead of 180. Believe it or not, that is a short lesson for you, and that is the end of this lesson. Your assignment from section 7.1c comes from page 403 and 404. Problems 1 through 20 all. Please give those problems a try. If you have any questions, bring those questions to class. Remember, I encourage you to check your answers to the odd number problems in the back of your textbook, and that will help you know if you're getting the even number problems correct. Thanks so much. See you in class.